We've talked about my research on how working class identity usually doesn't change as people move up in social class, but what is working class identity? A study in 2011 revealed what they call the working class promise. Let's explore. In most of my previous videos on the unwritten rules of work, I've talked about how that class is a culture and that these working class background cultures clash with corporate culture and the game when people move up in class via employment. In this 2011 study, Lucas interviewed working class families and asked them what their core values are. She also asked them how they defined working class. She also asked them about how they defined working class, which varied from them saying where they were on the socioeconomic ladder to capital labor designation and to having a lack of autonomy and creativity on the job. But at the heart of it, they talked about very positively what their values were. And they told these, as I've said about analogies, through folklore, through family stories, lessons shared by their parents, and discussions about their work and the economy. And the parents of the family said that their values were number one, work ethic, two, having a provider orientation, three, the dignity of all work and workers, and four, humility. These values aren't necessarily unique to the working class, and maybe not all the working class will identify with them, but this is just what the study showed. I know I've posted on work ethic because that is something that was so ingrained in me to even, I would say, toxic levels. And like I've shared, I didn't really start questioning this until I had a traumatic brain injury where I had to. As someone who researches the unwritten rules of work for people from low income backgrounds, I think humility is a very important value to discuss because I think that's part of what makes it hard for working class people to posture or fake it till you make it in corporate environments because not only are you very direct, but it also doesn't feel humble. This, particularly among women and communities of color, it's also not okay, like considered okay or culturally acceptable to talk about yourself as much and not your team or your community. And this can also be a challenge in interviews or with the elevator speech or even in writing your own performance evaluations. So intersectionality here is very important, and something I see lacking in this study is they didn't articulate the race of these respondents, which makes me wonder if they were all white or monolithic in some way, that they didn't articulate the diversity of the sample, because there's a complex history in the US of who had access to labor and who was paid for their labor, and that could definitely shape perceptions of values and experiences at work. And that's not limited to the US, but this was a US study, and I'm a US researcher, so that's why I bring that up. So, what are your thoughts on the working class promise and core values? Do you resonate or not? What edits would you make? How do you think these values shape the experiences of people who experience social class mobility?